Hello guys, so welcome to my YouTube channel, and now we've taken it to a different level. I'm glad you've made time to join me. So with this session, I'm going to kind of respond to my high school leavers or those who want to come and do their undergraduate degree in the United States of America. So I have with me my colleague here, and we're going to kind of take you through the process you have to go through to get here. So stay tuned as we move along, and please, if you haven't subscribed, kindly do so. Tada, peace out. Let's proceed. Hello guys, so welcome back. So as I promised you, we're gonna do this session this session is solely for the undergraduates, those who would want to come and do the undergrad here, and especially those, I've been seeing in the comment section those who don't want to take the SAT or the ACT. So if you are part of those people, you have good results and you don't want to take the SAT or ACT, please, fasten your seatbelt and get your note passed as we move along. All right, so I'm going to let her introduce herself as I have this pretty lady here with me. So she's going to introduce herself, then we take it from
there. Hi guys, my name is Kimberly. Basically, I'm at Eastern Illinois University and I'm currently in my junior year and I'm studying computer and information technology, and basically that's what it is about me. But I started off at a community college, spent a year there, so I'm a transfer student at EIU.
All right, so that is all about her. So the main theme for today is all about community colleges. That is, if you want to come here, why should you consider community colleges? So that is it. So basically, I will talk something about the community colleges, and I will let her highlight the process she went through, and also, why you should consider community colleges. That is all that we are going to do. So with the community colleges, they are basically 2-year colleges a 2-year college in the US, and they give you either a diploma or associate degree. That's right, and some certificate programs. Yeah. So you take that 2 years in the community college, then you transfer into a full-fledged university for your bachelor's degree. Then you're good to go to progress with your academic life. So that is basically all about community colleges. So we're gonna take it from there. So what are some of the required documents or the process you went through?
Okay,
let's start from the required documents.
Right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, so right from the beginning, say the first things first is your transcript, which is obviously your grades. They need to see how well you've done. The second thing would have to be, a lot of the US colleges here are essay based, so having your essays ready. I would always say maybe have 2 or 3 that are already written up, and then you can always edit them according to the university. Also having things like documentation such as your English results as well. That's always they always need to know your English proficiency. Other documentations as well, they also will always, your advisor will always communicate with you back and forth as to what they need from you. So mainly the things that you have to have are your essays, your transcripts, and your English proficiency.
All right. So then I'm sure passport will be required. Passport, international passport.
Yes, of course. That's one thing that you always have to have saved up. Always have your passport PDF always ready, because every university, whether it's the university or the embassy, your passport back page is always going to be needed.
Amazing.
So
yeah, amazing. So now with the English proficiency, we have people watching us from Ghana, Nigeria, and some other English-speaking countries. I'm sure with regards to those people, the requirement is going to be waived because they're coming from English.
Right.
Countries.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Zimbabwe. That's where I was born and raised. And given that already, we had the Cambridge, which is the British English system. So already I got my English waived already. But you also have to provide supporting documents to show to show to that effect and prove to them that you do know your English and stuff like that. So I had O levels and AS levels and A levels. So having given them the results and having a grade C or better, showed them that I'm English proficient.
That's right. That's amazing. So that is that. So guys, you should take note about that. So English proficiency should not. The TOEFL, the IELTS shouldn't be a hindrance. If you're coming from Ghana, it's going to be waived. So what made you opt for a community college and not a university? a full-fledged university when you come into
Right. That's a great question. I mean, the first thing is that the tuition, the cost of tuition is way lower, almost a third of an actual university.
Oh, really?
And at the same quality education. So why do I need to pay, a university for the next 2 years? I mean, especially for the general courses, when I can get that at the third of the price. So the first thing for me was the cost. It was very, very cost effective to start at a community college. The second reasoning for me was that already I was considering that moving to a whole new country, I'm going to experience culture shock. I'm going to be in a different environment. So going to a community college is a great place to start because it's pretty small and you're still getting the education that you need. And another thing that people need to understand when they come to the US, they always think that they're going to jump into their major courses that are in line with their degree. That's not true. The US, for the first at least year or 2 years, you're doing general classes.
That's right.
So at a community college is the best place to do your general classes. General classes are like history, you're taking politics, you're taking math. You're basically taking a plethora of subjects that are actually not in line with your major. So it's always great to do those at a community college. And I would say the third thing is basically being in a smaller town and in a smaller city starting off and having a great cost-effective accommodation.
That's right. That's amazing. So do you have an idea of the cost of tuition when you were in your community college?
Yes, the cost of tuition when I was still in a community college did not go above 5,000. It always stayed between 4.2 to about 4.5. Per semester. So a year you can budget 10,000 and you should be good to go.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So within a range of 4,000 to 5,000. Guys, so that is that. So you kind of now have, the required document, your passport, your essays, as in personal essays, your English proficiency, and most importantly, your results. And also, some require financial proof. Proof of finance.
That is true. That is true. Another thing to always have handy, this is just not only for the schools, but also when it comes to your interview process, always have the financial documents ready because you're going to need to obviously show proof of finance. And this will it's also great to show proof of finance because this is how they base what scholarship they're going to give you and what award they're going to give you. So based on your finances, then that also, basically helps them estimate how much of a scholarship they should give you. So given that, let's say you're coming from a low income household, that can actually up your scholarship even more. Okay. So that's something to be mindful of. So never be afraid of providing your financial statements and stuff like that. They help with awards.
So with regards to the financial statements, do they provide it as part of the admission requirements or after they've gotten the admission and probably a scholarship, then they submit the financial statement? Because normally with a graduate school, some schools, not all, but majority of the schools will allow you to kind of do the application without the proof of finance. Then when you've gotten admission and probably funding, you provide statement for the deficit. Or if you don't get funding, you provide bank statement for the total cost of what? Attendance. So with a community college, do you provide it upfront?
It's upfront. It's very different for undergraduates, I guess, because they know that you started out of high school. So it's a bit of a different process. So it's different from the graduate. You have to provide your proof of finances along with your application. So it's going to be one of the documentation you have to provide.
That's right. So guys, you should watch out. So then let's talk about the issue of scholarship. My people, they want scholarship. I know, right? So what are the chances of getting scholarship in community college? Because offhand, I know that it's easy to get scholarship and also it is quite affordable. How does it work?
Okay, so scholarships are going to be mainly based on your grades. So your grades have to be super awesome and super great, and it is vital for you to always keep your grades up because this will actually, be the difference between you getting a presidential scholarship or just getting a basic scholarship. So the higher the amount that you're wanting, your grades have to tally with that. So I would say that's how they base with scholarships and things like that. So yeah, it's mainly to do with your grades. That's right.
So let's say predominantly it is easy to get scholarship in community colleges.
It really is. It really is. Given how your grades are looking, but it's always easier to get scholarships in community colleges.
But what about the test scores like SAT, the ACT, and other test scores that some schools require for those who prefer going to a full-fledged university than community colleges? With the community colleges, do they require such test scores or I mean, it's not required.
They're not too stringent on SAT scores. I mean, obviously, don't have anything below like the fives, don't have anything below 500 or below 600.
But what about those who can't, take it, or those who haven't taken it? Is it optional, test optional, or we have schools that don't require SAT? Because that is what I know of, but you have been through the process, so
right,
probably, yeah.
right. Okay, so this is what happened with me. I had a better SAT score for my English than I did for my math. So basically, what you can do is that when you have that requirement and you feel like you don't fit like the SAT score that you received with the requirements that the community college is asking for, I would speak to the advisor, email the advisor, ask them what are your other options. So communication is key. Always email back and forth with the advisors. Don't think that you're being a pest, because at the end of the day, they're the people that are employed to help you. So I would email back and forth and they can sort of give you advice as to what you can do to waiver. So because of my math score, they gave me an additional math test that was facilitated by the community college that I had to take, which was outside the SAT. So I took that additional test and passed that, and they admitted me on the basis of that.
That's amazing. So meaning you took a test within, prior to entering the school, right?
Right.
Okay. So guys, that is basically that. So I think that is all for today. I'm going to let her share with you some cheapest community colleges you can ever get in US. Okay, we have other cheap community colleges, but that is what we are having at the moment. You can do your search, as I've already taught you how to search for schools in US, and you'll get these schools available. These schools are having tuition fees ranging between $3,000 to $6,000 per semester. It varies, so you shouldn't worry about the cost of attendance. Yeah.
Right. One rule of thumb or a key tip I would suggest is also looking for colleges in the south of the United States, because those tend to be cheaper and all of that, because the cost of living or the rates there are usually much lower when you go in the south. So the south, I'm talking Tennessee, I'm talking North Carolina, South Carolina, I'm talking Kentucky, I'm talking Tennessee, I'm talking Georgia, Kansas, and Texas. So I'm going to start with the first one. Is going to be the one I attended, which was Independence Community College, and my tuition there was below 4.5. And then there's Houston Community College, which is going to be in Texas, and then there's Hutchinson Community College, and then there's Garden City Community College, where a lot of my friends went as well. I've got about 3 international friends that I know, about 2 from Turkmenistan that went there, and then there's Northeast Community College, and then there's Western Nebraska Community College. So please look out for these. They've got great prices.
All right. Thank you, guys. So that is that. So to sum it up, that is for community college, and for those who want to kind of come straight, get straight into a bachelor's degree and not pass through the channel we just shared with you. So with this one, to sum it up, you will get the associate degree from the community college, then transfer or transit into a full-fledged bachelor's degree. So it is as simple as that. So if you want to get straight into a 4-year university, which is very costly, because comparatively you are going to kind of pay, as you explained earlier, pay half of the 4 years cost you would have initially incurred.
Right.
So with that one too, the same process. Your SAT, if you have a SAT score or ACT score, your transcripts, your personal essays, then you should be good too. But do they require recommendation letters and stuff? Just like we those in grad school, do some schools require you to get some recommendation from your?
Some do. So it would be good to keep those handy. I think I only applied to one school that really asked me for recommendation letters. But usually it's not really that common with community colleges. It's more common with universities. But I would keep recommendation letters handy. Another thing that I did want to add as well, like with community colleges, because some people may be wondering that, you talk about an associate's degree, but like how is it transferred to a university? So basically what happens is that each and every semester you at a community college, they're basically like points that you get for all the courses that you've taken. So basically these grades or points are transferred to the new university according to, like, let's say if you took a math class at a community college, they'll weigh it out to see, okay, is it at the same weight as a math class in a university? college. So some they accept them, some classes they accept them, some they don't. So you also have to be careful about the classes that you're taking at a community college, making sure that they transfer, and also looking at the university that you want to go to after the community college and seeing if your courses transfer to those universities. So you also have to be very careful with the courses that you choose, the courses that you're doing, and see that they transfer. So usually by the time you transfer after 2 years, you've gained, because each semester is about 15, so you've gained about 60 credit hours. So amazing. That's what transfers to your university, because to graduate from a 4-year university you need about 120. So you've already gotten 60, which is half of them done. So that's the process of getting an associate's degree, which is worth 60 credit hours, which then transfers to a 4-year accredited college.
Now the last one is I've heard of this I won't say misconception, but I've heard I hear say that it is hard to kind of get visa with a community college from Africa, or as an international student, getting a visa granted. Have you heard anything about that?
I've heard, cases of that. I feel like it's not really a misconception. It could be true, depending, but I wouldn't wave it out and say you're definitely not getting a visa because you're going to a community college. I guess part of the reason why they can be skeptical is that community colleges are way cheaper. So I guess what they then think is that, are you going to be able to transition to a 4-year college and be able to afford it? So I guess that's one of the things that they consider, they look out for, that they're looking at your finances and seeing that. But at the end of the day, if they were to ask that question as well at an interview, this is a bonus tip, that when they ask you that question and the consular officer says, so Kingsford, how are you going to be able to pay for a 4-year college when you do move from your community college? Basically, the way I'd answer them is that, well, I am positive I'm going to have some scholarships. I am positive that while I'm at the community college, I will be working on campus. So I'll be working on campus and saving up the funds to help me to go to a 4-year college. So be very clever about your answers. Be very confident that they shouldn't worry about that, and it shouldn't be a problem.
Alright guys, so that is that. So I think with the visa issue and stuff, I'm sure right now we are much concerned about helping people get admission and funding. Probably from March you will see series of visa tips and how to go about your interview and stuff. So watch out. So that is that for today. So for my high school leavers who have been bothering me, this is that for you. So I'm sure you've enjoyed this session and you've taken some notes down. So stay tuned. With the next session, I'm going to share with you how to get in touch with these professors and staff. I always promise you guys. So that is that for today's session. Thank you for joining me once again. Bye bye.